Good morning.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
I got you perfect.
It's the morning for you right
No,
now?
it's absolutely not. It's evening.
Oh, I was like, holy shit. I was like, I thought you were EST.
I am. I'm just decent.
GM, brother,
That's
GM.
it. How are you?
I'm doing well. How
I'm
you doing?
great, great. Thank you for the opportunity, man.
Hell yeah. All right, give me a second. Let me just take a sip of this water here, clear my palate, and then we'll get started. I'll do the little intro. Unless you, how do you pronounce your name? Is that David Filar?
Filar. Filar.
Filar? Filar. Neither was right.
That's close. It's all right.
We got two strikes.
That's
All right.
tough.
I got one more. All right, so David Filar, right?
That's it. Nailed it.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. Let me just take a water and then we'll lead in. Oh, do you have any questions? You said no, right?
Nah, man. Let's let it riff. I'm just gonna share this out right now.
Okay, cool. Welcome to the Talking About Life podcast. I am your host, Ian Lepkowski, also known as Kowski on Twitter. My handle is at KOWSKY_ETH, as in the first three letters in Ethereum. Kowski.eth is my ENS. We always start the show by thanking God, universe, source, however you want to call it, for whatever magic brings these guests to the show, keeps the show running, gets us into contact with the guests, gets people to say yes, to share their vulnerabilities, their stories, their passions on the show, to speak to us and give us positive messages and lessons and deliver value. And then obviously we have to thank the guests because without the guests, there's no show. So today, the guest that we are thankful to have is David Fillar. And I'm saying that correctly,
Nailed
right?
it.
Perfect. And it's davidfilar.eth. That's DAVIDFILAR.ETH. And the Twitter handle is at DAVIDFILAR. Director, oh, sorry. His Twitter bio reads Director of Product and Design at Endstate / holder of VeeFriends, W of W for World of Women, I believe, and then ABS. And what is
Adam
ABS?
Bomb Squad, baby.
Oh, Adam Bomb Squad. Dope. Yeah, I have one of those too. I have a strawberry guy. So, David, how are you? You said you were doing good. Like, how are you doing in general? And did you want to give any more bio beyond what you have in your Twitter bio?
Oh man, well, first and foremost, like I'm stoked. Like I love what you're doing. I love that you reach out to the VeeFriends community and you ask people to join you to riff and just talk about life and just really create like a space for people to just listen and learn about the members of the VeeFriends community. And I think that's amazing. So thank you for asking me to come on and sharing this space with me. Yeah, my Twitter bio, like it's tough to like fit a million things. I think I'm part, and I have no idea what age range you're part of, or nor anyone I follow on Twitter is, but like I feel like I'm part of.
30,
Oh,
31, 31 if you'd like
I'm
to know.
31 as well, so hell yeah.
There you go.
All
Bait and
right,
go.
so we're part of like this slash generation, right? Like we do this slash this slash this slash this, and it's always super difficult to like characterize what we do, right? And so my full-time job is being a director of product creation and design for a startup, a Web3 startup called Endstate, where we do digital NFTs, and then make physical sneakers for athletes, artists, creators, brands, and we collaborate with them. So my full-time job is designing sneakers, but I'm also an artist on the side. I do commission paintings. I've launched my previously owned NFTs over the past couple of years. I obviously love NFTs and the space that we're in. I host my own podcast as well. So that's why I think I mentioned to you like I'd love to have you on one of these days, which is called An Untold Narrative, where I host creators from all around the globe. I'm 82 or 3 episodes in now, so I've been doing it for 3 years. And I've had photographers, videographers, designers create like anything. And so I do that. I volunteer on the Arts Council here in Worcester, Massachusetts, where I reside. So my bio is pretty lengthy, and I apologize. It's probably taking up too much space at this point. But yeah, that's kind of, I'm doing great, dude. I'm seriously very thankful for being here. So
Pleasure to have you. I mean, you're never really taking up too much space. You know, it's rocking out, bro. There's literally no fucking rules. That's the number one point about it. Just like you said, and I do want to clarify just something that you said. It is 100% open to all the V friends. I love the fucking V friends. Most of my audience is V friends. Most, if not all, of my guests, I think have been V friends so far, maybe with few exceptions. But it is open to everybody. So like, yeah, V friends is my fucking peeps. Like they're my fucking fam. They're my fucking homies. I fucking represent. Like, don't even like try to step. You know what I'm saying? But
So
open to
I
everybody.
have the
Everyone who's positive and passionate. No, no coming on here and talking about, hey, I love hurting people and I want to keep doing
right
that. No, no, no space for that for
that
me. But anyone, you're good.
that's it. And like the V friends is amazing. I tattooed the "Fuck You Monday" mall V1 on me on my arm, so I'm literally gonna die with V friends.
Oh fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. V friends is just dope, man. I mean, so I mean, let me just ask you that then, because that's obviously such a prominent thing, bro. You got him tattooed. Why do you love the "Fuck You Monday" mole? Do you like obviously know that that clip? Sorry, where, Gary V is talking about like he's gonna make Saturday fucking Monday. Fuck you, Saturday Monday. I'm gonna turn you into Saturday. That kind of thing.
I love the
What got you into?
Yeah, I mean, like, so first and foremost, like when it was minting, and for those that have been in this ecosystem for long enough, VeeFriends didn't mint out for like 2 weeks. And I just like saw the mole and I thought it was such a funny looking character. And then you paired it with "Fuck You Monday," and I was like, this is the funniest character I think out of the entire 260 whatever it was. And I was like, that's my guy. Like I gotta get that one. And so I did, but I did know the history behind it of like, let's wake up and be passionate about every single day, no matter what day it is. Not that like, oh, let's work the week to work towards living a little bit on Saturday or Sunday, but let's make every single day absolutely amazing. And so I really love that philosophy, and it's just like a daily reminder to look down on my arm and just be like, you know what, fuck you, Monday, and keep rocking. So yeah, it's definitely my favorite character. I think it's the most underrated character, but I'm obviously biased.
And what got you into Gary V in general, and like how early did you get into Gary?
This must have been like 4 or 5 years ago at this point. My ex actually originally brought me onto him back when he did his first K Swiss collaboration. And I was like, because I work in footwear, I'm like, nobody, not even like a guy with millions of followers. And he was much smaller back then, not like the massive following he has today. He was much, much smaller. But I was like, nobody like this person can change the tides of K Swiss. And I was like still semi right with that prediction just because K Swiss is like such a strange brand. But his product, like I did end up buying his product and stuff like that. But yeah, it was that, and then my life sort of altered a little bit, and I just like leaned into all of his YouTubes, his podcast specifically. Like it was just religion. It was like I'm not gonna subject myself to any sort of negativity. I'm gonna only ingest and consume positive information. I like completely stop listening to the news. I don't like I live in a bubble. I like when people tell me like news breaks, I'm like I'm like completely like flabbergasted because I don't know what's happening around me because I don't want anything to weigh me down and offer a negative light. And yes, like I understand that like that's probably not the best way to live because you like only see what you're like allowing yourself to see, and it's a very strange perspective to have, but like I'm happier, like I really am. And like so I've been doing that for the past 4 years, I want to say, and like it's been working.
Yeah, and I would want to say the only thing I would comment like against what you said is I do think that's the best perspective to have. Like I believe in energy, I'm a willful wizard over here. I believe like law of attraction, all that type of stuff. I don't think it's good to like have negative thoughts and negative energy. Like, and even if you don't believe in energy and stuff, bro, like not everyone does. I get it's like a woo-woo kind of thing. But psychology is the same shit, bro. Like anything you put in your head, whether you believe in energy or not, like you're gonna like see more of that. You're gonna like kind of program your subconscious. So I'm not about even doubting it, dude. Like you're like, I'm not sure if this is the best way to kind of only see the positive. Now, you don't want to only see the positive in yourself, and maybe that's what you're commenting on. So I would agree with that, right? Like you want to have a self-aware perspective of yourself. So if you're doing negative things, you want to be able to be transparent with yourself and genuine with yourself. But in terms of, but that's like a different type of thing. I think you mean like in terms of your own thought process, like your internal self talk. Like even if you do realize you're doing something negative, you don't just go into like more negativity. Like you don't do conscious negativity. Like you're aware of negativity, but you don't consciously participate in negativity. I think is what you're saying. If I would could you know respectfully rephrase
Yeah,
it.
no, I think you're spot on. I think it's just anything that's negative. When I catch myself thinking a negative thought of like, oh, why did this person say it this way, or like, what? It's just like it's when you 100%, 360 degrees around your life, only consume positive shit. Like like it just offers this crazy perspective of always being like, why am I thinking this negative thought? Okay, let's take a step back, let's evaluate it, um, and really try to understand that, and then create a different framework moving forward, right? So yeah, I think having Gary and the whole ecosystem part of my life for the past 4 or 5 years has really, been for the better. So for the rest of my life, for as long as he lives, really.
Did you have a chance to get a pair of those shoes? You mentioned you were into sneakers.
Yeah, so I own a pair of the Clouds and Dirt, his collaboration with K Swiss. I actually wore him to VCon the first day, that Thursday, and he signed them for me when I met him. So that was sick. And so now they're still sitting in a box. That was the only day that I've ever worn them. So I'm not really a flipper. I have over 100 pairs of sneakers because I obviously work in shoes, but um, I don't know. I'll hold on to it for sentimental value, but yeah, unless somebody like offers me a stupid amount of money, but I don't really do too many things for money.
Now, Clouds and Dirt, was that his first shoe
No,
collab?
I think it was his third. If I'm being honest, I don't think it was his first one because he also had a high top in there. I don't remember the exact order. There was five total.
He had five different
With
sneakers.
K Swiss, yeah, I think that he did a run of five, and like that was the contract, right? Because like five is obviously his number. But yeah, he like ebbed and flowed in terms of like how much he promoted it. To my understanding, at least.
Yeah, I actually got in on I think the first one. I was trying to remember which one it was. It's like a green shoe. And I was in New York City. It was like 2017 or something, and I got him to. It was like during my lunch. I heard about it, and I was like, "Yo, fuck this! Like, I'm going to this instead of lunch." You know what I mean? And I fucking like jetted down there, got online. I think I was like gonna be late coming back. I was like, "Fuck it, bro! Like I don't think I'm gonna get fired for this. I did not get fired for that." But I was like, who knew at the time, right? I was like, I don't think I am, and I'm like, I guess if I do, like, I don't know, that's crazy. Fuck it. Like, this is the only time I ever did some shit like this, like I got to do it right now. But it worked out, and I got a few pairs of shoes, and then I like sold a few of them that he signed. He sold like I got like three, signed all of them, and then I sold two of them, and then that paid for the one I wanted to keep, and then some pocket change just for like extra. So that was like a cool thing because like he's all about flipping and he helped me like flip stuff by signing it. I was like, that's dope. Like felt like a cool moment for me.
Yeah, I know. I love that, right? Like, I think it's cool that he's part of like, he's been really doing a nice job, and I know people, complain, and everybody's got a different perspective of all these different Web3 projects of, the way they do merch, and the quality of merch, whether it's from Bored Ape or whether it's from World of Women, and I've read all the comments, but like I think what's really interesting about VeeFriends is like his team has tried to like elevate it, right? And I think that's why he got some backlash on the price point because it's a little bit higher, but they used quality materials, right? Like it wasn't. I'd classify it more as apparel than merch. Merch is like cheap. It's screen printed. Like they did some embroidery. They did some like, and I think it's gonna keep growing, right? Like if Gary's the way that I think he is, and he's super smart about this. Like he wants to build it as like a fashion vertical, and he wants people to wear it wherever, whenever, whoever you are, and he's really deep into culture, right? Whether it's street culture, whether it's like the hype beasts of the world, he knows a ton of artists in that space, a ton of brands in that space, and I think it's going to keep growing. Like I think he's doing it really, really well. And you can't always please everybody with different price points and quality of product and stuff like that. But from what I've seen so far, I think he's done a cool job. And like the latest like hats and stuff, like that's not my style hat. Like I'm definitely not a buyer, but I think it's cool that he partnered with like a little startup, right? So a brand that like maybe needed this, right? And I think that's really admirable.
Yeah, I love that he is doing all these different partnerships, and you described it as a fashion vertical. Now, I think it's way bigger than that based on what I've heard him say. That it's a world vertical, bro. Like he wants fucking VeeFriends on your toothpaste, dude. He wants them on your underwear. He wants them on, your kid's backpack, bro. He wants them on your backpack. He wants them on a skateboard. Wants them on a fucking side of a plane, maybe on a race car. Like, dude, I don't know. He didn't literally say all these things. None of this is financial advice, and don't fucking quote me on anything. But the general idea is that he said he wanted to take over the world with fucking VeeFriends. So it's like anyone that has like a category that you could imagine something on, he wants each of them to have at least like one like brand deal kind of thing. But like my understanding was like not necessarily limited to that. So there's like 200 something, 60 plus characters or something. Don't quote me on that either. But something around there. And it's like, so that's like a number of partnerships. And then if they have multiple each, or ones where they do like it's this one and this one, they do partnerships, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, the panda and the like wombat kind of thing, and then that's a partnership where it's a coupling thing. Like there's just so many fucking options with it. And I think it's not just fashion, you know what I mean? I think they're taking over the whole world, and that's the
Yeah,
goal.
no, I 100% agree. I also while we're riffing on fashion and V friends and everything else, I want to give a shout out to the three lovely ladies because it's International Women's Month this month. Teacher Ginger and then Maren Quay. I hope I didn't fuck that up. I'm so sorry, but thank you guys for rocking.
It's probably
Yeah,
merengue.
thank you. That sounded a lot sexier than what I said. So thank you for being here and chopping it up. And then obviously Greg, who just popped in the room. Tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, no, Wednesday is International Women's Day. So yeah, big shout out to you guys for hanging out with us.
Hell yeah. Shout out for National Women's Month. 100% represent. Got to keep track of, the shout outs for the months. I'm never good at that. I never know what fucking month it is. I don't know what day of the week it is. I don't know what time it is, bro. I just had a baby girl. She's got me up at all hours of the night. So thank you for keeping our heads on straight and reminding us what's important, that it is indeed International Women's Month.
Yeah, of course. We're here for a good time.
Now, going back to fashion, speaking of women, speaking of men, like what kind of shoes? Like, is it men's shoes, women's shoes? Is it everything? Is it unisex? Like, what are you doing with shoes right now?
Yeah, so we primarily do unisex style product, or we try to do our best to unisex style. The last is a technical term. It's considered the foot form that you build the sneaker to. It's a unisex last, and so we go down to size 3 and we go up to size 16, which is really rare for a brand. Uh, to offer that many sizes, usually like the major legacy brands Nike, Adidas, Under Armour stop at like 13, 14, depending on the different style. But we really try to be as inclusive as possible. So yeah, we do all sorts. We have a ton of collaborations coming out in the future. We do have a women's scoped project for later this year, so that'll be super exciting. So yeah, we try to do a little bit of everything. We've done knit styled sneakers, we've done leather styled sneakers. We currently are live with a collaboration with 6 NIL athletes, or name, image, and likeness. They're all college athletes still. One is going to go into the NFL draft in a couple weeks, which is super cool. So, yeah, we do a lot of different things, which is so exciting. We love the authentication between the digital and the physical with the NFC chips that are inside the sneakers. They're just like action packed. I mean, Greg, who's in the audience, and well, teacher also bought a red bandana sneaker from us, so we appreciate them. But Greg has like 3 different pairs from us, so he's a rock star for always rocking with us.
Wait, yo. If I could pause you for a second, there's chips in the
Yeah, yeah.
sneakers.
So we embed all
Can you, yeah, tell me about that if you
Yeah,
could.
so in every single sneaker, we put an NFC chip inside, and it directly correlates to the NFT that you purchased. So you can tap your smartphone against the tongue of the sneaker, and it will show up on your smartphone. It'll pull up the digital NFT, and then there's a two-step authentication process of connecting to your wallet, and then obviously, if it like, make sure it pulls up the one that's yours. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Like it's in my opinion, in our company's opinion, it's going to be like this for every single physical product in the next 15-20 years, right? Whether that's your TV, your car specifically, like there's going to be some sort of authentication and verification with all physical product that's digitally connected, right? Because if if you live in the sneaker world today and you buy and sell and trade on StockX or Go or any of these third party eBay sneakers, any of these third party platforms, you know, they're all like by eye. They got people who like just study sneakers for a living, and then that's their proof of authentication. But like with this, you definitely like there's no two ways about it. Like it's either real or it's not real. So we're super excited. There's a couple other brands in the space who do it with apparel, like most famously, like G Money has his 9DCC t-shirt company. Um, there's a couple other brands out there that are trying to do it, but I think what we've been able to build in the past 18 to 20 months of being around with 8 different drops, going to do 9 shortly. So we've been even in this winter, like we're just constantly like always working. It's like it's so funny. We have the conversation internally, like, oh, like there's not like too much buzz around like the crypto space or the NFT space lately, blah 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 blah. And it's like, nah, it's cool because like it gives us time to focus and not be distracted and continue to like we have this is our full-time job. We work 12 to 14 hours a day on this shit. So it's like it's just nonstop, and we're so stoked and passionate about it that that's a bit of overview of what we do with End State.
Well, I want to just say congrats on your progress. I know you said I think it was more recent that you ascended to that position. So shout out for that and congrats to that. Always like to hear about, passion and positivity on the show. That's what we're focused on. So cheers, kudos, echo, sunshine, spotlight to that. What if I could ask you? Oh, actually, let me ask you this. I heard this weird rumor that sometimes like there's certain facilities where the shoe inspectors they make them like strip down to like their underwear or bathing suit so they can't like steal any shoes or like pull any switch counterfeits. Like I feel like they only do that with drugs. Do people really do that with shoe? Like is that a joke? Is that a myth or
I
do
I
does that
have
actually fucking do that?
no idea what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about with drugs? Do you know
No,
either
no, yeah,
reference?
yeah, yeah, with drugs, yeah, with sneakers, what?
Yeah, I'm asking like, do people do that when they inspect sneakers so they don't like flip
I've
like a counterfeit pair,
I've
like like pull an Indiana Jones and like they're like a agent in the
I've
system
been in
working.
the industry for almost 10 years now, and I've not heard that, but that is
There's
fascinating if that's true. That is,
in
thank you for bringing that up and bringing a smile to my face.
okay. I just wanted because people don't know about us outsiders, bro. We don't know about if these rumors are true or not. I don't know. I'm just left to ponder these things, before I go to sleep at night. Um, Let me ask you. So, like with the shoes that you're designing, like how do you know how to design a shoe? I've seen Nikes, and you could go on and custom edit them. So that's a shoe someone kind of already designed, and I could do a color scheme for that. I know what colors I like, but I'm taking it that you're doing more than that. Like you're getting it to the point where the point where I'm just adding the colors. It sounds like you already did that. Am I hearing that correctly?
Yeah, I mean, when you design from scratch, when we get, you get a brief or you get a new collaborator, and they might have some ideas or like maybe what type of style. So like whether it's a low cut or like a high top or a mid cut, like whatever it is, like there's some sort of framework. But it honestly just it's rudimentary, but it starts with pen and paper, right? Like I sketch with thin Sharpie markers. Like that's my style as a footwear designer. I love just 8.5 by 11 white sheets of paper and a thin Sharpie marker. And like, I'll just fill pages with ideas based on like a couple key frameworks that like the collaborator, our project brief will support. And then you just draw, man. Like you create and like you try to visualize how the sneaker is going to get made. in your drawings and your sketches. And then, after you come up with a couple, like, whether it's 20 different ideas, like you down select, okay, like I really like this, or I'll play Mr. Potato Head. Ooh, I like this toe with like, this collar area, or I like this sole better than the one that I sketched here. And so then you'll kind of like pull together a bunch of these ideas, and you'll consolidate down to like three or four, and you'll elevate those concepts, and then we'll like talk about them internally, and we'll kind of talk about the pros and cons, and then we'll down select again. And then, yeah, and then you move it forward, and it's pretty crazy. Like it's literally a sketch, and then within 3 months it can turn into a physical sneaker.
Well, David, thank you for sharing your process with us. I think that's cool how it's kind of this larger branching out that goes through a fining, narrowing down. Like you don't start with the finished product in your head and then you're just kind of picking at it. Like you have all these different versions, so you can show somebody else, or you could sit like I guess like with your partners and everybody, right? If I'm imagining it correctly, could get feedback on it, so you all know what you're looking at, and then from that grouping you choose what's the best out of that, instead of like the whole time just building towards just one image that no one sees until it's done kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's just not a collaborative process, right? Like if I just drew, even if I personally just drew 20 different ideas, but I picked my favorite, like that's cool. But this is the challenge with working in design is a subjective like genre, right? It's not mathematical or science based. There's no actual factual evidence of something unless it's functional, like performance product. Like there are design elements you can include, and it's functionally driven, and you can like bring that to a lab and you can prove it out. But like from like lifestyle product, like basic product, design is subjective, and your opinion on if you like a sneaker or anything, right? It could be the design of your coffee table. Like it's so subjective, and it actually, that's why I think is design is one of the most challenging fields to work in, is because everybody has a damn opinion. And like it's really hard to justify. So like you always have to do your due diligence and speak as factually as you can of like, hey, this is designed this way, or it's cut this way, or has, a double stitch, for durability, or it's, it has, suede leather here for X, Y, and Z reasons versus like you always have to provide more thought, especially when things are driven just purely by aesthetics, because it's hit or miss, right? Like if you have a group of four people, like two people might agree that that's the best concept, and two people might be like, it's not the best concept. Well, what do you do then? So it's a pretty, but it's fun, man. Like I'm so blessed that like I get to draw for a living. Like if you boil it down, like I just draw for a living, right? And like that's crazy being 31 years old. Like you asked me 10 years ago, 20, like 15 years ago, like I had no fucking idea what I'd be doing, but like here we are. And so I think it's cool, man.
Yeah, and just to answer your question, when you said when not everybody wants the same thing, like what do you do? Governments usually just do violence, even though they say that's never the answer. Me personally, I often use rock, paper, scissors. Not I don't like to go like the Hunger Games kind of route. So that's I'll just throw that out there. Maybe roll like a dice.
We try not to do that.
Try not to do what? Go Hunger Games or do
No,
rock, paper,
no, go
scissors?
rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Rock, paper, scissors, bro. That's gotten me through many a situation in life. Flip a coin, bro. And then sometimes don't just flip the coin and go with it. But once you flip the coin, you feel when it's about to land what you really wanted, and it gives you clarity. Even if you don't go with the answer the coin flips on, that's the real secret of the coin flip. You could still change your mind because it could give you clarity. You know about that? That's my little hack on coin flips.
I mean, I always my like thoughts on like coin flipping is one, yes, I do use them, but like before you flip that coin, you know what you want to land on. So if you give yourself two options of like, okay, this is heads and this is tails, like before you like the moment before you flip it, you know in your brain like subconsciously which option you want it to land on, and that is actually your decision, right? So before the
Hey,
coin
but if
even
you don't
lands, you
flip it,
know.
it might not feel right? Like if you don't put your hand on the nickel or whatever, you're like you don't feel that subconscious feeling. Or I don't know. I do it to know. I don't always totally know, but you're right. Somewhere in me I know, but I do that to like bring it forth.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, we're also talking about being aware, being an artist in the space, all these different ideas and concepts and people that you have to please and think of and different styles and how do you do something that's unique and has your name on it and also gets the whole market to like you, but there's also not going to be people who want to wear the same thing 100 million people directly next to them are wearing, so it has to be like targeting some markets and not others. There's all these thoughts. Among all these crazy thoughts, one of the newer challengers to the arena of this is AI, right? Are you thinking about AI? Is AI a threat you feel like, or are you like excited about using AI as a tool?
Yeah,
Uh,
I didn't know if you were going to bring this up or not, but I'm happy you did. AI is super fascinating. Like I'm very very just fascinated by it. We do use it internally at work in different micro capacities. I think what people are able to do through Midjourney and obviously ChatGPT and like the slew of others is amazing. I'm not worried about it. You can type in to Midjourney's Discord today or right now, being like, design me, a Nike sneaker, with X, Y, and Z elements, and it'll pull something up. I don't think that makes you a sneaker designer. I think that makes you really good at providing a bunch of details for something else to design it. But I think what I get really excited about is using it for like inspiration, or a lot of times in my creative brain I have an idea of what I want something to look like, and like it's like a step by step like it takes a while to get there, and like AI can actually expedite that process. So ultimately there's always a human behind AI, I think, to guide it. And so those who lean into it and those who want to maximize their work through it, I actually think will benefit in the real long run. I haven't fully figured out how I want to utilize it and how it can save time and help me manage the million things that I do on a day to day basis. But I'm trying. I'd love to sit down and do 10 hours of YouTube University. I just haven't gotten to it, but we do it in micro capacities. And so, like, anybody who's worried, like, Tom Bilyeu says this. I don't know for any impact theory listeners. He's always said this quote, and it's always stuck with me. Technology is a one-way street. It doesn't go backwards. So if you want to fight technology, you're just a flat out idiot, because it just won't go back to what you believe is the norm. It's always going to be advancing. And so we would only be smart to lean into that. And so my message around it, I've gotten asked a ton lately, like, learn about it's the same with NFTs though. It literally is the same conversation. Learn about it. You don't have to adopt it. You don't have to use it every single day. It doesn't have to be, your Google per se, but like understand it, learn about it, like be curious. Like that's not asking you to do too much. And then if you find a way that it can enhance your life, then Mazel tov, do it. But like, I don't know, like, it's a fascinating subject matter.
yeah, and you said you're not sure all the ways yet, to use it. I don't know all the ways to use it either. I keep thinking that there's so many questions I don't even know to ask it. What I'm wondering, I'm fucking around with Chat GPT a lot. I don't know a lot of the visual based ones, or I've heard of them, Dolly 2 or Midjourney, but I haven't used them a lot. Is there an option where you could feed them the 20 samples you have and be like, give us 162 more that look like this? So now you don't even just have 20, now you have like different variations or derivatives of your own work, whereas that wouldn't have like existed before.
Yeah, my understanding is yes. I haven't tried that. So like, even if once you settle on a design, right, then you have to do a bunch of different colorways, and then those colorways are always like informed by trends and by fashion and what's happening in the current market. So every footwear company out there knows what colors people are buying, right? Like right now, purple is making a massive swing in footwear. Last season it was green. A lot of people were buying green footwear last season. Now it's more purple. Like there are these micro trends of like buying habits that like footwear companies have to adopt to and like really understand, and there's services out there that people pay for. And I think like it takes time to do all these different color schemes and these color mappings. And what I've seen through Midjourney is like people can send Midjourney an image and it'll regenerate that in different formats. So like I don't see why AI you couldn't submit your image or your sketch or your drawing and ask it to create 35 different color variations. I bet it could, and I bet it saves. And there are like Nike, Adidas, these large corporations have just color designers. Like that's their job, is to just do color and material. And so when you have a tech that can like theoretically remove that, I think that gets really interesting.
So for me, it almost sounds like you want to be using it more, but maybe you're not. Like, is there a reason for that, or it just is like not part of the process yet, and you would lose speed fucking around with it, and you kind of are in go mode right now, and you can't fuck around with losing speed?
Oh man, I can't figure out anything. But like, it's all comes down to like making time for what you want to make time for. But yeah, like we're comfortable in our norm, right? Like we know what works for us today. Breaking out of our own shell and trying something new takes time. It takes energy. It takes patience, right? Like it takes all these things, and it's just a matter of time, right? Like I just have to sit down. I have to do it. Like I juggle too many chainsaws on a week to week basis, so like it's really a matter of like mapping these things out and planning it and spending the proper amount of time. Because I think if I watched 15 hours of YouTube and like how others are maximizing it, there's this one YouTube that I watched, like Alex Hermosi. I don't know who people watch. He's like this crazy like sales guy. He's really taken YouTube by storm the past few months, and he tasked his entire like sales and marketing, like every department, to figure out how to maximize their business through AI. And then he made a YouTube video of like their learnings and what they were able to accelerate, and it was super fascinating. And I'm like, man, like, is that what it takes? Like my boss to just be like, let's figure out all the different ways that Chat GPT can make like our lives better, and like I'm sure then people would but like I don't know, it's just a matter of breaking the cycle. It's a matter of time.
So that's going to be a job in itself, it sounds like, or we may think, right? I've heard other people say that. Someone who just gets paid to think of what questions to ask Chat GPT for you because you're not sure what to ask it. Like, is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, no, well, or just like doing the exploration of like breaking down our day-to-day jobs and like where can AI actually, like if you spend 20 to 30 minutes a day, you know, I don't know, writing different emails, right? Like you can ask ChatGPT to like come up with, you know, provide me 15 different output emails to different sales brand managers or whatever, you know, in different tones of voices, and like and it'll create like creative, like you just give it the framework and like then it writes your emails for you, right? So then theoretically you can boil that down to 5 minutes worth of work of input to Chat GPT, and then your output is 30 minutes of email. So I don't do that personally. Like I don't know, I can write an email pretty quick. I don't need AI to do that for me, but like that's just like one very very crude idea.
So I like everything with that. Before I move on, anything else you want to say about AI? Because I have a couple other questions I want to ask, but I don't want to be too abrupt moving off AI because it is a fucking enormous topic and we could spend a whole hour on that.
Nah, no, let's keep it moving.
So another thing I wanted to ask is when did you kind of figure out what you wanted to do and what you wanted to be? You know, I read this post you have and you seem happy in this picture about being where you are now, you know, designing shoes. Was that, you know, ever since you were 3 years old or, you know, was there a turning point in your life? Like how did you figure out this is what you wanted to do?
Oh boy, that's a loaded question. No, I didn't always know that. I immigrated to this country from Poland. So I grew up like with $0. Like my parents didn't speak the language here. Like we just didn't have anything. Like buying shoes wasn't a real thing. Like I used to have like a $40 allowance and going to Bob's stores. It was like it was not Bob's Furniture, but it was like a discount. Like you could buy like Nike SBs for like discount prices, but they were like last season's products. And like my mom would give me like $40 like every 6 months, and like that's how often I was able to buy sneakers. And like we just didn't have money, and like I always like liked picking out the shoes that like made me stand out, whether that was like bold colors or bold patterns. And like it didn't matter what brand it was, like it didn't need to be like a top brand. Like there was this website back in the, early 2000s called Karma Loop that I loved because they had these crazy like independent sneaker brands on there and watch brands. Like I was always buying these super cheap products, but they were so cool and so different. But growing up, I actually wanted to be an architect. I used to draw houses all the time when I was growing up. So I applied to Wentworth Institute of Technology, where I went to college, to be an architect, and they rejected me. And but they like sent me like a revised email being like, if you choose a different major, we'll accept you. And so that's what I did. I was like, fuck it, I got in. Like I didn't apply to too many places. Like I didn't really know what I wanted to do, although architecture seemed like a cool thing to do because I'd be drawing. And then I got to college, and my roommate at the time, Lorenzo, he was drawing with markers all the time. And I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, I'm in industrial design. And I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck that is. And he's like, oh, it's just like designing all products. And he started teaching me of like, look at your TV stand, like look at your coffee table, look at your candle, look at your anything. Somebody has to design your art frame. Your Somebody's got to design this and build it and make it. And like it like completely flipped my entire world upside down. I'm like, fucking hell, you get to draw with markers and you can create like everything around us. I'm like, that's what I want to do. And so I switched majors into industrial design, and the rest is it. Like then like a couple years in, like I just like met a couple people at a couple parties in Boston and like grand openings of stores on Newbury Street in the city. And like I just fell in love with sneakers. I met this guy who was the creative director of Fry Boots, Frye. He's no longer there. Michael Petrie, he really put me on to like continue to work towards footwear. He was like talking about how amazing of a job it is and all this other stuff. And like from there, like it was amazing, man. Like I just fell in love with just like the idea of drawing sneakers for the rest of my life. And there's a long history and story to that, but like I really fell in love with the idea back then. Then that was like my sophomore junior year of college. So yeah, I've been doing this for almost 10 years now.
Now, in terms of this, what's like, I guess essentially a lifelong passion, or much of it. Do you also draw like beyond shoes? Like other like do you draw cartoons or graffiti, or like do you have any other styles, or is there anything like a different avenue of art that you mix in with the shoes or that influence it, or even is totally separate, or anything in that vein?
Yeah, this is a really good question. I haven't been asked that question in a very very long time. I used to draw a bunch of stuff. I used to be fascinated with watches. I used to always want to be a watch designer. I have sketchbooks filled with watches. A lot of my friends wanted to do cars. That was the cool thing to do back in college. I never got into cars. I'm not really too materialistic, to be honest, outside of like maybe watches and sneakers. But like not really today. I definitely don't. I wish I did. It's really just a matter of capacity. But I do art, right? Like I paint on the side. I do commission paintings. I paint with oil and acrylic. I also sew and make shit. That's turned into like this fun hobby. Back in 2019, was it? Yeah, 2019. On my 29th birthday, I launched an apparel line. I cut and sewed 12 different styles of clothing. I learned how to sew. I learned how to make patterns, the whole nine yards. I don't know where the fuck this came from. It was just a rabbit idea of mine. And so I launched on my birthday this apparel line, and I sold a couple pieces. It was pretty cool. So today I have a studio that's only a few blocks away from me. And so I walk there and I just create, whether it's art, like actually physically painting, or hacking something together. And like that to me is my creative freedom. That's my outlet outside of work, right? That keeps juices flowing, that keeps new ideas. Like it'll be in the middle of the night, or like at like 5 a.m. when I'm like groggy trying to wake up. I'm like, I'll have this idea, and then I like will write it down, and then I'll like it'll be backlogged for, it might be 3 or 6 months, because like my list of like random ideas that I want to execute in my life is very very long. That's slowly getting smaller. um but yeah, I like mix in a bunch of different mediums. And like I really think not enough people on this planet explore a number of different things to actually figure out what they love. And so I like trying to figure out new things, and then I'll get bored of painting and then I'll give it up for 6 months and then I'll come back to it. Or like same thing with sewing, or like, running is like a thing that like ebbs and flows in my life. Like some days I go super manic about it, and then other times I'm like, I'm fucking burnt out, I don't want to do this anymore. And but like, I don't know, like you just try things and then you rinse and repeat, and like you figure out what you really like. And then when you surround yourself with 5, 6, 7, 10 things that you really love on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, like, I don't know, life gets a little bit better. So versus moping around, like being like, I don't like this or I don't like that, like, I don't know, that's really the person's control of figuring out what you like to do. Sorry, I went on a wild tangent there.
Nah, man, that's what this show's for. That's what it's all about. That's what you're supposed to do. And you're just echoing the tenets of the show, which is positivity and passion. And you're talking about how you have different parts of you that are creative in different areas. They're all coming together, kind of been focused around the shoes, but you also have other outlets and you've been hustling, you've been grinding. You started off where you didn't have your own studio. You came into this country, you're doing your thing. Now you do have your own studio. You could do what you want. You could put your ideas out, whatever comes to you in the middle of the night type shit. Like you got somewhere to go and make that a reality. So, I mean, that's what the show's about, right? It's about positivity. That's your passion. It's about giving other people lessons, giving other people inspiration, letting people know like it's possible and that they should go for it and that it's not just in a fucking book or a movie or some character that someone wrote about it. It's real life. People come to this country, people struggle, people are born here, people go through some sort of shit and they get to the top of the mountain, they overcome the goal they're trying to overcome. They catch the fucking fish, bro. However million ways you want to say it, right? They get it fucking done, dude, right? And you got done what you wanted to do. Now this is kind of like a flip up question for you. So what if like you got blacklisted from the shoe industry? And I respect any answer about your hustle, getting your way back in, but you're literally like cosmically fucking blacklisted, bro. Like you're not getting back in. You have to now, like, you could still be an artist and you have to actually be an artist, but you got to channel your art into something else. What would you pick if that happened?
That's a great question. Yeah, people have asked me if I'd ever walk away from the footwear industry, but it's like too addicting. I
Bro, it's cosmic, bro. Everyone you love and you don't know the consequence of this. Don't make me go into it. I don't even want to say it out loud, bro. Don't You can't push against it. You got to pick something secondary.
uh,
Hypothetically, dude, you don't have
yeah,
to
yeah, no,
do
of
it.
course. I
And
would.
bro, honestly, if it makes you uncomfortable, I'm not really pushing your boundaries. I'm just playing with you, but I feel like we're both choking.
No, no, no. I would probably try to pursue architecture again. I think I'd want to pursue that, or I'd be like a muralist. I really think like I've tried using spray paint on like at this like art thing last summer, and I really liked it. It's very very challenging, a lot more challenging than using a brush in any sort of paint. Spray paint was wild. I would love to do like murals one day. I think I will. Like, but like I'd probably like be like a full-time artist, like just like a, whether that's paintings or whether that's murals, or I love that culture. I love the people in it. I think everyone's usually pretty nice. Yeah, I'd probably do that. I think like if that's what I had to pick, if I couldn't do footwear.
If you could paint the perfect mural, what would that depict? What would it be a mural of?
Whew. I think it depends on the location, right? Like what the story or what the
Your
message
perfect
is.
location, bro. Bro, this is your fucking wildest dream, bro. You're putting it into Midjourney or some shit, bro. The more
uh,
specific you are, the better it'll come out. You know what I'm saying, bro? This is all in your hands. You got the wheel.
Man, I honestly I don't know what I would paint with the perfect mural, man. It would definitely be something on about.
Monday mole, a fucking, a box of cards or
They'd
something.
probably have the fuck you Monday. Well, I mean that's a good point. Um, no, it'd probably be something around like positivity or have a very strong message. Like I don't know. I'm pretty like cheesy in that sense. Like I have the words "keep going" tattooed on my wrist. Like I like I like simple messages that like can really alter somebody's day just by a glance, right? I think murals do that. When you like are on the highway and you see a mural, or you're walking downtown or whatever it is, and like you see this art that like really captures you, and like it changes your perspective or your emotions or whatever. Like it would definitely like be something positive and have it saying, maybe it's the "fuck you Monday mole," which to most outsiders probably isn't positive, but like, Yeah, I definitely have to think about it more of like what my perfect mural would be. I'll get back to you.
Well, you can definitely get back to me. You gave us a few options. You don't have to be solidified into one. I still appreciate, the answer that you give us here. Do you have anything else that you kind of want to just like before I go? So we go into the last 10 minutes here. We're at like 12 minutes. So the last 10 minutes I always do like a self promotion, but anything else before if you have anything to self promote kind of thing, anything else you want to wrap up before I do that transition so I'm not just like cutting you off or anything.
Nah, man, I'm very very lucky that you asked me to come hang out with you, and thank you for everybody in the teacher Ginger, uh, Greg. I'm not. I apologize. I'm gonna fuck up your name again.
Merengue.
Merengue. Thank you. Thank you guys for like hanging out and just listening and just I don't know shooting the shit with us and like hearing me like talk about random shit with Ian. So no, I honestly don't have any closing thoughts. Just like I don't know. Hope everyone's having the best fucking day. I don't know.
Fuck yeah. Now, David, did you said you had keep going tattooed on you somewhere?
Yeah, it's on my left wrist.
Have you ever heard of the idea of synchronicities?
I have not.
So like it's like, some people call it some woo-woo shit, law of attraction, spirituality, but it's these moments where a lot of people would just say it's a coincidence, but if you believe that there's something maybe more to it, who knows exactly what, man? Like a coincidence, but that like some pixie dust, like something magic, something a little sparkle to a coincidence. You
Okay.
know what I'm saying? That's what a synchronicity would be. It would be a sparkling coincidence, so to speak.
What's
So,
what's our synchronicity right now?
so have you seen my Twitter banner?
I mean, I'm gonna click now.
You're gonna have to
Oh
tell
yeah,
us what,
yeah,
folks. Tell us what's behind door number one.
yeah, yeah. For those who are just listening in their AirPods or whatever, not clicking it is banner says keep going. That's pretty cool.
And not only does it say keep going, I edited some it's a sign somewhere that someone sent me. I forgot who sent it to me. I think someone in the V Minders community, maybe it's Trevor or something, or I forget who, Kevin. I don't know. Someone sent it to me. And I threw some VeeFriends on there. But see what I'm talking about, bro? That is a sparkling, shiny little coincidence in my opinion, bro. Because not only do I have something in my banner that you got on your wrist over there, it's also got the VeeFriends on it, which is just two connections that we have all in one. I think that's dope. I don't know what it means, bro. Like we can't be soulmates, bro. I'm married. I just had a kid. Stop, bro. Don't say my wife.
Don't tell her
Dude,
the
we
good
can't do
times.
this. We can't run away like that. I have responsibilities. Jesus. Oh my god. Okay, but so it's not all that, but I don't know, bro. It's just a sparkly coincidence. I like to take note of them. It's a little smile, bro. That's it. That's all it is. So with that said, like I said, do you have anything you do want to promote? Like, do you have like like what's like the website or the follow you on Twitter kind of thing? Like, people
Yeah, I
want to
mean,
check out
like,
your designs. Like, where do they buy them? Like, how do they fucking give you
yeah, I mean,
money for
like,
that?
I do more of the artwork, promotion on my like I tailor all. I'm on like almost every social platform, but I tailor make them for each platform. Instagram's really where I share a lot of my design and my personal life. Well, I don't really share a lot of my personal life, but more of like who I am, just visually. That's just David.Falar, and then Twitter's David.Filar.eth, and I just tweet a bunch of random shit, usually a bunch of good mornings, and usually I interact with teacher Ginger and the aspiring nobody on a day-to-day basis. But yeah, I mean my website's davidfalar.com. You can go there to learn literally everything about my life. I over the past 10 years, a lot of my major projects that I've been fortunate to work on are up there. I started, oh, you know what, if there's one thing any listener who's almost an hour in, would do for me. I
Call to
started,
action, bro. Get them in here, bro.
yeah, I started, a weekly blog about 4 or 5 months ago, and I recently transitioned it to Substack. And so if you search davidfalar.substack, you'll find it. And so I do a weekly blog every Friday, and I'm actually going to start doing a weekly blog and vlog, just micro recordings of what I do, like very raw, very transparently about like from my apartment's point of view. Every single week, I'm really trying to like be even more transparent with my life. I know that sounds crazy, but if anybody wants to subscribe to my Substack, I really try to be vulnerable and authentic, and just share a lot of crazy ideas that I have on there. So if you're interested in art, culture, sneakers, whatever, check it out. davidfillar.substack.com, I think it is, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that'd be solid if you subscribe to that. That'd be awesome. Other than
And
that,
should
nothing.
they check out your regular website too, like the link that you got on the Twitter?
Yeah, davidfillar.com is cool too. Like you can learn about kind of, there's like an about page, there's all my design projects, there's my paintings that I've done over the years. Uh, there is a blog section. I used to blog on there. I did 120 straight days. I really want to get into writing. You know what? Fuck it, because I actually don't know how many people listen to your podcast, but I'll share this. Like, I've been writing a book for the past like 2.5, 3 years now. It's a very slow grind, and I want to be a better. Like, I really want to be a better writer, and I want and I've been trying these little things, whether it's blogging for 120 straight days, or doing now a weekly blog, or just like slowly like churning at this book. Like, I think there's something really beautiful and like old school about writing that I really love. Even in a world full of like new school and fast paced tweets and Instagram posts and all this other shit, like that's something I'm working on as a different art form that I throw in the mix of all the time that I have.
You know, Chat GPT will edit that shit for you, right?
I didn't know that, but fuck yeah, dude, that sounds awesome. Because my sister was valedictorian; she's an English professor, so she got all the English genes. I did not.
Bro, you could have it rewrite it at a fourth grade reading level, at a genius IQ reading level, in the fucking poetic form of iambic pentameter, like as a haiku. Like, bro, whatever the fuck you want, it'll do it. You could just say, give me some feedback on this writing. You could say edit for spelling and grammar, but like leave content. Bro, it will, again, the more specific you are with these things, it'll do anything you ask it to do. It'll do your fucking homework. It'll write essays for you. You could take like a whole fucking Wikipedia or a website information and then say like fictionalize this into like, a writing prompt that just gets you like generating ideas. It's not even like a story, bro. Whatever you ask it to, it'll do it. So definitely, I would say, think about using Chat GPT for writing. Writing is the one I understand the most. I've done some writing too. I'm also a writer. I do some writing, speaking, poetry, some like free form creative writing, some prose, that kind of thing, memoirs. But I put some shit into Chat GPT, and dude, I love the analysis I get. Like the closest I got to that something at that level was, in college, I'd get something from a good professor, and not all of them would even like write notes or like something that interesting, but if you had like someone with like a close relation, like I ended up majoring, I have a bachelor's in English, so I had to like write this thesis, work closely with the professor, I got good feedback, but it's like no one's given me that level of feedback on my writing since. So Chat GPT is not just giving you feedback, it's giving you like a feedback that feels like it's like professor level, or like, undergraduate professor level, or like smarter. So I get a lot of value out of that. Would you potentially use it for that? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I didn't think of that, but yeah, I probably should do that. I don't think I'd do it for like the weekly blog, because I really like how raw and like how fucked up my grammar is, and like it, like I wrote it, and I think there's something cool about that. But for like a book, yeah, like I need sentences to click together. So yeah, I 1,000%. I didn't think of that. I'm like, ooh, I got like you know 75 pages that could probably be edited at this point.
Yeah, and I get the idea of doing things raw because one, I have a kid, and two, my podcast is raw basically. We record live and we do things on the air. So, there's no going back. I
Is
mean, you should
this on?
edit things out, but I don't.
Is,
So
is
I'm all
this
about
on?
that, bro. I believe the plan is to have no plan. The form is to have no form, like Bruce Lee says. What were you gonna say?
I love one. I love that. Is this on Spotify and Apple and all that other good stuff that you upload to?
Yes. Well, it will be. Yeah. Like for that, I just edit out like the beginning where it's like, "Yo, can you hear me? Can I hear you?" But the rest of
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
straight up into there, bro. Straight up to the Anchor, and then yeah, Apple, and then Spotify, and then I thought I could add it to like Amazon Music. I got to see how I set that up. So I'm gonna see if I can put it on a few more places. But yeah, right now it's those three: Apple, Anchor, and then Spotify.
I love that. Yeah, I also use Anchor for my pod, so I get it. I'm surprised it doesn't go out to Amazon.
No, I think it does. I just have to like set it up. I just saw it recently.
Gotcha.
Now, you also asked me if I would come on your pod. I would say absolutely. So we could schedule that whenever. I also design clothes as like a hobby kind of thing. Like it's not like my day job is fixing computers, so I aspire to be at a higher level of it. So, your story is inspiring to me. But yeah, definitely love to come on your pod, talk about that, whatever other life journey, spirituality, philosophy, that type of shit. I love chatting it up. I'm gonna go ahead. We are like the last minute and a half, 2 minutes here. I'm gonna close it out. Unless you have any like last sentence, mic drop, any last thought that came to mind. You feel like I'm closing out. You're like, oh no, I wanted to say this. You got any last thing?
Just thanks again for everybody just hanging out with us. I think it's so cool that like people would give an hour of time to just listen to us talk about life. So thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Fuck yeah. So I'm going to echo and sunshine that. I always say we close out kind of the way we open in, and that is by being grateful and thankful. So 100%, we thank all the guests for giving us your time, coming for the hour to listen to us chat with each other, but also hopefully learn from our stories, learn from our questions, learn from our lessons. You don't have to make so many mistakes in your own life if you could learn from other stories and journeys. So hopefully we all want to accelerate our growth that way by sharing each other's stories and journeys to kind of boost ourselves forward in life. The last message. Oh no, sorry. A couple more thanks. So we also want to. I'm skipping ahead. So we also want to. I'm so excited. We also want to thank our guest David Fillar for coming on the show. We are very grateful, obviously, to the guests. But there's no guest, there's no show. I'd just be talking to myself. Maybe some of you would like that, but I don't know. I prefer to have the guests. I like to interact and have a conversation. So thank you for so much for coming on the show. People, please check out his designs. Check out his website. Follow his blog, start checking that out. Look forward to maybe a book coming out at some time. Get involved. He's a creative, interesting person. I give him my thumbs up. Lastly, we thank God and the universe for, like I said, the energy that connects people and brings us all together for these shows. And then the final message is a message from our friend Avokasi Brand at the Barbershop Spaces on Twitter. And that is, if you haven't heard it today, you are loved. There's light and dark in the universe. But another way to believe is that there's also a oneness, and you could see that oneness as love. So not only are you loved, you are the force of love, conscious and incarnate and walking around on the planet. And that's it, folks. If you have not heard it today, you are loved.